Hey, I've got another vlog here for you. Finally got rid of this pubic hair on my face, so now I don't look like I'm homeless. So I wanted to talk about something that I see a lot on Facebook and just like, I guess Reddit, but mainly Facebook. I follow a lot of groups, and one of them being, like Game Boy groups or handheld groups. And people, they say, I see these posts a lot saying like, should I upgrade my Game Boy to an IPS screen? And those who don't know what an IPS screen is, basically it's like an updated, like really crisp, clean, new screen that's bright, so that you're able to play like your Game Boy like whenever it's darker, whenever it's like middle of the night, or it's dark and you're on a car ride home. And Game Boys, they had it's like monochrome, like green, really dark screen that you had to have a light shining on it because it didn't have any lights at all. So people were like really frustrated with that. They did not like that, because I mean the Game Gear had color and it had a light in it. I mean, it's still not good, but it was definitely much of an upgrade. Heck, the Atari Lynx had color and lidded screen. So people, what they do is they buy these kits where you can replace the old screen of your Game Boy to a new IPS screen where you can, like, you're actually able to see, and the pixels on there are so crisp, they are so nice, and you know, you're not really getting like ghosting. I mean, I guess it depends on like what brand you go with, which I have like a certain brand that's like, I guess not many people like trust or whatever, but I go with it anyways, and it's actually really good. It's on par with like the people that sell IPS screens for a lot of money. Yeah, IPS screens are an investment, but thankfully, you know, me doing like you know, working and, you know, doing my side business, I'm able to afford these luxuries. So I'm really grateful that I'm able to do these things. Yeah, anyways, back to Facebook posts. People often say like, should I upgrade my Game Boy to an IPS screen? And the main reason why they ask that is because they don't want the value of the Game Boy to drop. And people, it's really like what you prefer. If you really prefer a stock Game Boy in all of its glory, and you want to preserve it like that, and you want to sell it, then first off, I don't like you. Because, I mean, whatever, I'm not going to go into it. Yeah, there are people that do prefer having a stock Game Boy, and there are some that would pay a lot of money to have a Game Boy with a brand new IPS screen. Because Game Boy screens, they don't last forever. They will get, somebody might sit on it and it might crush the screen. There are tons, millions of cases of the screen being burnt in from like the sun, which that you can save. It's just really tedious. I have seen it saved before, but I don't know if I'd want to do that if I really preferred a stock Game Boy. But yeah, people are just too worried about if the value of it will drop. And you know, there are some people that are like, it's a lot of money. Do you other people who have spent this money, do y'all say it's worth it? And of course, a lot of times say yes, it is worth it. And you know, here's your answer. Here's what I have been thinking. When Christmas, my girlfriend got me a Game Boy Color and Pokemon edition, and it is incredible. I thought that was so awesome of her to get me that. So I was thinking like, oh, I don't want to replace anything. I want to keep it all stock and beautiful. And so time went on, and I wanted to have a original Game Boy in my collection. And I do play whenever I collect stuff, I do play them. I don't just collect them just to have them, unless it's like an Xbox One. then yeah, I would just have that to collect and never touch. Unless it's like an exclusive. Which, I mean, there's not really many Xbox exclusives. Xbox One exclusives, let me say. Now, if this Xbox 360, I would play that till the end of time. Because the Xbox 360 was perfect. But anyways, back to Game Boy. I got a Game Boy, and this one was from, thankfully I got this from somebody that didn't know what they were doing, and I got it for like a very cheap penny. And the only thing that was wrong with it was that it needed a new screen. The screen, like the pixels on it were just dead all over the screen, or like on part of the screen. And it's not like the, excuse me. And it's not like the, where there's like lines going across it, where if that was the case, then yeah, that's fixable. But this was like dead pixels, and you can't fix that. And so what I was like, what I decided to do was like, alright, how about this will be my first Game Boy that I will replace the IPS screen. You know, I've replaced Game Boy screens for customers, and I've had them have a IPS screen, and they love it. I loved it, and so I finally got some money collected, and I bought me an IPS screen for my Game Boy, and it is absolutely beautiful. It is incredible. I love it. And actually, this morning I was playing my Game Boy, just catching up on some Pokemon Yellow. So, whenever I had got the IPS screen, I replaced it, and I started playing around with it a little bit. I was like, you know, why am I doing this? I don't like playing on Game Boy Color with a non-IPS screen, and I can't see anything. Like, it is ridiculously dark. Even with, like, the sun fully out, no clouds, I can barely see anything. And that could be just, like, you know, the aging of the screen. And, you know, I bet you, like, if it's, like, brand new, then I'm sure the screen will be a lot easier to see. But still, it's not, you have to have that light on there. And a worm light was not gonna save the day for this Game Boy. It is not gonna save the day, I'll tell you that. It is so dark, I'm hardly able to see. So then I started thinking, well, you know what? Who cares? Who cares if I change my screen to an IPS screen? Like, I'm not going to sell my Game Boys because they're part of my collection, and I enjoy playing these because they are part of my childhood. Well, the Game Boy was. Yeah, of course, like the DS and all that stuff. So I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to get me an IPS screen for my Game Boy. So I haven't bought it yet. I'm waiting just a little bit because I'm doing some of these other like things in my business. You know, trying to like just save up some money. I need to go ahead and finish up on it. So I'm saving up some money for that, and I'm going to eventually get me a Game Boy Color IPS screen. And I've seen a Game Boy Color IPS screen, and it is beautiful. Colors are awesome, crisp. So if anybody is out there and they don't know if they should have a IPS screen in their Game Boy, and it could be an IPS for your Neo Geo Pocket or whatever, Atari Lynx, Sega Game Gear. go ahead and do it. If it's something that you have been thinking about and you're just, all you're worried about is just the value of it, then just go for it. Just go for it. Because really what you should do is not worry about the value of it. And if you really are worried about the value of it, keep the old screen somewhere safe and protected. That way, if you do decide to sell it, then you can just swap it out. I'm telling you, you could sell your IPS screen, Game Boy, Atari, whatever, for a good bit of money, because it does cost a lot of money to get a IPS screen. So people who have already built it in there or installed it into their console, that's like, oh, hey, I don't have to do this work. I'll just buy it from them. I'll just buy that IPS screen from them, or IPS ready. But yeah, you shouldn't just like have it just to collect it, or not collect it, just have it just to sell it again. I hate when people do that. People who just buy stuff for super cheap just to sell them for like a lot of money when they did barely anything at all to them. Because there'll be people that bought like really like disgusting like consoles or games or whatever, and they'll just sell it just like that. Now, if you buy something that's broken and you fix it and you make it look nice, like brand new or close to it or just working, then yeah, I could see you selling that for more money because you did this work to fix it. Yeah, that's my little tangent there for a little bit. Yeah, that's just my 2 cents. Go for an IPS screen. It's well worth it. You're gonna be happy that you did it. Yeah, that's about it.